Hi everyone. Today markets decided to go on a rocket ship straight up. Huge rallies in the pre-market into the mid-session. We did have 4 down candles into the end of the session, but let's just do a quick market review as we head into the weekend. Do me a quick favor and like and subscribe and watch the video till the end to help out the channel, and let's get started. Moving over to fear and greed, we stepped up to a 38 from a 28. Big step up here. We'll see if this has any follow through into the Monday session. My guess is that it will. You can see momentum stepping into regular fear. Big step up here on strength. First little step we've seen on that in a little bit. Breadth has been going higher. We've been talking about that. Put call ratio pulling back a little bit. So markets did get a little bit healthier today. And then looking at the markets here, starting off with the S&Ps, you can see the big gap up, the big doji. We came into the zone here. You got the trend. You got the level 599.64. Didn't quite touch it. And then we pulled back pretty significantly into the end of the session. Volume coming through at the end of the session. But that hasn't seemed to matter here recently. We've seen selling volume at the end of nearly all of these sessions. In each session, we seem to be continuing to go higher here. So we tested the level 591. We said that could hold. Got the big gap into the pre-market, and then the rally really strong through there. A lot stronger than I thought it would be, honestly. I was a little bit short into the end of yesterday's session, and obviously I got kind of taken to the cleaners on that, unfortunately. But overall, very strong day. We'll see now. Is this going to be consolidation? You have a fake out breakout to the downside here, but we haven't broken out of the high from this consolidation yet. And moving over here to the Tasty charts for the SPY 1 hour, you can see we were pulling back yesterday, held this 34 EMA. I thought we'd pull back to the lower band. Didn't end up working out that way. Ended up gapping here and rallying to the upper band. You can see big volume here early in the session, pushed right to that upper band. And then right at the end of the session, selling volume, a little bit of selling there. Waiting to see if this pulls back into the mid-range. Need to see it hold the previous high. That would be great at 594.65, which is pretty much in the middle of the range. Still bullish conditions. It did end up holding bullish conditions yesterday. Moving over to the Qs, you can see very similar thesis. Gapped up and doji. Did fall a little bit more into the end of the session. Wasn't able to rally through the session the way the SPY was, but we're out of this trend structure now. I was thinking we were going to get the continuation lower after the big bear candle off of the trends here yesterday, but then we got the gap and rally. Very strong there. Big volume on the session as well. So everything says this should go a little bit higher. Your support now is 519.48. As long as 519.48 ends up holding, then you're in good shape. If it pulls back from there, your next level is 514.92. If it pushes through here, 526.50 is your next level to the upside. So kind of in the middle of the range after the gap up. If we get a gap up, gap down, that's going to be bad, but momentum is a little bit bullish here. And then moving over to the Tasty chart, similar thesis, pushed to the upper band on the hourly chart, pulled back from there. 9 EMA still holding up. My guess is this is going to pull back a little bit more. Again, volume on the push here, volume on the selling action based on the RVol there. So mixed signals, pullback in time makes sense for me. Moving over to the Russell and the Dow. The Russell did a similar thing here to the NASDAQ where we came into the level and then sold off a little bit. Momentum still bullish, RSI still bullish, so it still looks good, but clearly 216.02 still has an impact. You can see we tested it here and here. So far we've rejected every time. Waiting to see if we can get above there and hold. Hasn't done it quite yet. It's falling just a smidgen after hours. And then looking at the Dow, let's extend out this trend line here. Makes sense, hit that trend line, pulled back a little bit from there, but we finally got above that 432.78 level, gapped higher and dojied. Momentum still bullish. Need to see it get above here. If it can, your next trend is up in the 440 area, and then above that I have the level 441.43. So looks a lot better here today, breaking above this structure. Dow looking a little bit better than just about everything else. Moving over to Apple and Microsoft. Apple managed to stay positive, but couldn't even get above the 230 level, and it's selling even more after hours. The 144 EMA is your support. Still hasn't closed above 230 since yesterday, even with the strong markets that we ended up getting today. And then similarly here on Microsoft, huge gap up. The high of day was all the way at 434.50 or so, and then we ended up selling back below 429.88. So it seems like there's just not a lot of appetite to own these big tech stocks right now. Bullish markets, everything's pretty strong today overall, and then the Mag 7 just could not hold on to the gains. Microsoft finishing only 1% higher on the day. Momentum and RSI, though, on Microsoft look a little better here than Apple. Moving over to Tesla and NVDA. Tesla had a good day, 3% higher there. NVIDIA also 3% higher, getting back above the trend, back into this consolidation range. You have a bit of a double bottom now at 130.35, waiting to see if this can get back above 140.76. If it does it, I'll definitely be looking for another trade in here, potentially back to the all-time highs after this kind of consolidation bottom. Momentum looks good. NVIDIA looking quite good, actually, and it's up a little bit after hours. Tesla held the level yesterday, closed just barely below it, and then gapped higher and then rallied. Through a big wick, couldn't get above the high from Wednesday. Waiting to see if this can kind of get a continuation potentially back to these previous highs, and then the next level for me is 500. Moving over to staples and discretionaries, both of these actually caught some pretty decent moves. 0.57 to the upside, momentum still looking good. I still forgot to take a position here, but I like it. I want to see it get above 77.50, and then looking at discretionaries, did not expect this at all. It gapped right to the trend and then held there. Momentum's bullish, RSI's bullish. Maybe we get a little bit of follow through here up to the next trend at 235. Moving over to breadth. Breadth did go higher as you would expect, 72.76 here on 20-day, and then 50-day jumping up to a 40 number here right at the level, 40 flat, just barely above it, right at the trend. We'll see if this trend continues to matter for markets. It has mattered over the last couple of months. We found support there, and then we broke through it here. Now we're retesting. Is it going to reject from there? That could be interesting. But for now, everything continues to look bullish. Moving over to the dollar. Dollar resumed its up move here as it broke through the trend structure here and then continued up pretty much throughout the rest of the session here. So 10 o'clock candle was the up candle. Through big wicks in both directions. Finished relatively unchanged after that, but strong push. The level still at 109.50. We said neutral price action in here. We're starting to come into that zone of resistance. We'll see if that matters here, probably in the Tuesday session. Moving over to bonds. Bonds had a little bit of an update, not a whole lot, relatively unchanged on the day, falling a little bit after hours, but holding in the same zone. You can see J&K hit the level 96.51 and then rejected from there just a little bit. Overall, still bullish though. Momentum and RSI say both of these should go a little bit higher over the next couple weeks. And then finishing up here with volatility, we ended up not getting that follow through, but we did end up holding this trend here. We did not close below it. So market's still showing that they can hold a higher volatility number. We'll see if this kind of jumps from that level. Maybe we get the gap up, gap down on the charts. That would be interesting. But for right now, volatility hovering with momentum and RSI looking a little bearish. And then looking at my accounts here, obviously, I got squeezed to the upside. I was a little bit short going into the session, and then they jumped overnight, so that was really painful here. In terms of positions, you can see I did sell some puts for the Tuesday session, trying to get back into this here to the upside. I think I'm going to turn this portfolio into more of a wheel style account. Sell puts as it goes, and then sell calls as it goes down. We'll see. But for now, a little bit of bullishness potentially into the Tuesday session. Sold 224 puts on the Russell, and then a 518 and 517 here for the Qs. For the Tuesday session, 62 cents there, and then 210 total for the Qs position. I also wanted to highlight I did start a top step account. I did 1 day of trading here today just to see what it's like, see how their platform is. We'll see if I keep going with this or not, but 1 day of trading, $5.95 on the profit in my first combine. You can see 1 day trading here. We'll see if I keep talking about this. Let me know down in the comments if you want me to keep talking about it or not. Otherwise, let me know what you thought of the markets today. Did they catch you off guard a little bit? Otherwise, like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video. Make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.